Mike Giardi covers the NFL for BostonSportsJournal.com. He joins us in studio this morning. All right. Did you hear the stuff we played from Schefter about?
Yes.
That didn't make any sense to you, did it?
No.
Okay. We were talking about Bill Belichick's contract, and the report that Dale Arnold had was that it's like for 3 years. What are you hearing, and what makes sense to you in all this?
What makes sense to me is it's that his old deal was ripped up or it had expired at the end of last year, that he's the quote-unquote multi-year, which then turned into several, as Ian Rappaport tried to parse his words there and try to figure out how to deliver the news without actually giving you full detail. Talking to people that I've talked to, it sounds like it's a 2-year deal, this year and next year.
Okay.
So that's not.
And that seems to be consistent with what Curran's been saying.
Yes.
Mike Reese,
Curran
when he was on,
especially.
Mike Reese was on with us yesterday. He seems to believe that that's the case. The Dale Arnold thing's kind of out of left field.
Right.
So I'm not. I mean, if anything, John can tell you how much this guy is a Scoops McGee. So I would think that I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, what's the deal with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's I don't even know why he'd wade into the waters. You're retired.
That's what I was just saying.
You're retired, man. What do you need crap
That's what I was
for?
going to say. It's like what? You're not getting paid.
Yeah, like just
where was this?
Like if you're not getting paid,
5
what's
years
the
ago.
point?
Where does he go?
It's just-
Papoose Pond?
Yeah.
Yeah, just go to Papoose Pond.
That's
and,
where he
it'll be
goes.
good.
Yes,
It's good.
that's right.
Unless you're getting paid.
Nice long career.
I'm just going to make up something right now. Unless you're getting paid or late, what's the point, baby? Understand where I'm coming from, Mike Giardi?
Did you steal that from Wallach? Was that I feel like that's been Wallach saying for.
He came in
for
with a
years.
trucker hat with that on it the other day.
Yeah, he. It's a lot of graffiti. It's his tag. Paid and laid.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you believe it's 2 years. Okay.
And it dovetails with the Gerard Mayo thing. Like that was a very public, which we never get, the announcement that they were going to pursue an offensive coordinator. There was going to be the search. The Gerard Mayo signing in a press release that never happens. Like we don't know contracts for any of those guys. But Bill, of course, being chief amongst them for 20-something years. The details and the length and all that sort of thing. So it makes a lot of sense considering how ownership feels about Mayo and how ownership believes that he's, they can't say he's the next guy. You have to go through the process.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But that he's the next guy.
Why do you believe? Because you can only assume that it's Bill Belichick that leaked that out. Because Bert made a great point the other day. Because there's only 3 people who know about Bill Belichick's contract. It's Jonathan and Robert Kraft and Bill. Because I guess Bill's agent isn't
Cornrich, Neil Cornrich. I think he still advises. So maybe Neil's 4, but Neil doesn't talk to anybody. So there you have it.
So why did it get out there? Why do you believe that whoever leaked it out?
Mike Vrabel sitting in the owner's box.
All right, I want to get to that later because that was weird.
I'll give you. So first of all, just the general, the ego that's involved there, and you're gonna, we're all gonna speculate. We've been for a month now, and some a lot longer. Some thought coming into the year that he was coaching for his job. Like I'm Bill Belichick. I won 6 Super Bowl rings. I 2 as an assistant too. Like, how dare you guys talk about me this way? Like, okay, we've had this bad spell, but I mean, in some ways, it's not my fault. I didn't love the quarterback. Like I can't get the quarterback to play right. They played better when Matt Patricia was here than the guy that they wanted in here, and Bill O'Brien. Like, and then I think to me, as I sat and thought about it on Sunday when it came out, is so the owners are in New York. Robert talks at the owners' meetings. They're quarterly, I think. Whatever, it doesn't matter. He talks at these things.
Yeah.
Stacey James told the Globe. Yeah, generally he's available at these things. Robert wasn't available. Jonathan's walking by the media with the phone pressed up on his ear. It might have been upside down. We don't know. And Roger Goodell's security guard comes and gets Kraft and escorts him through the throng of media, and no comment. And to me, the no comment was a comment. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk about my coach right now. I don't want to talk about the status of and the state of my organization because it sucks right now. We're 1-5. Like no one, we didn't expect it inside the building. We've talked about this, that they thought that they were better than any of us thought. And there are plenty of people who cover the team that they have the pom-poms and they thought, 10-7, they're going to go to the playoffs. Like they thought they were better than that. They thought they had a real chance to do damage in the AFC East. And then if you do damage in the AFC East, the Bills and the Dolphins, maybe you're doing damage in the AFC period.
Sure.
So I think that I think Belichick's side took that as a slap and said, all right, let's remind people who's still got some juice here.
Yeah.
Let's leak this contract news. And also, by the way, a reminder to the players, if you were starting to tune me out, I'm still deciding your fate. And it's not just for this year.
For the
but
long
it's
run.
It's next year or beyond.
You know, for that reason, I don't think it was an awful idea to leak that out there if Bill did that. Just for the whole, that you're exactly right.
There's no
For the
downside for him leaking it out at all.
No, there isn't. But at first, it seemed petty.
Yes.
Like,
Well, who cares? I mean,
But
so what?
Sure, it's a good
that
point.
word petty, but that's an apt description of Bill. He keeps score on everything, and it's
it's not like it's off brand for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is interesting, too, how, this had to have been almost a direct answer to that Jeff Howe article that came out that said that the Crafts absolutely would consider firing Bill Belichick, despite what some people think. And because I have a feeling that came from a certain side as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and I'm glad you brought up the Jeff thing, too, because throw that on top of then the ownership not talking at the meetings. And then, you can see why the coach people might be like, let's flex our muscles a little bit here, and remind people, I got a new deal.
Yeah,
and if they want to, and look, I look, obviously, if it's what I believe and what others have reported that it's just this year and next year, they can. If they go 3-14, they can still fire.
yes.
Okay, let's say it's a 3-year deal.
2 years.
Let's say it's a Dale Arnold deal.
Okay,
it's the 3-year.
Makes it a lot harder.
Okay.
Yes, and there's no. That's why the Schefter thing drives me crazy. That it doesn't matter how long it is. Well, then why would you?
Right.
Of course, it makes a difference. It's more money. It makes a huge difference.
Right, and they didn't like spending all the money they had to spend in free agency a couple of years ago. That
Right.
still to this day bothers them.
Well, it should. It was
so
the
then
wrong
are you?
way to do
So
it.
then are you gonna? I mean, we all think Bill's making somewhere around $25 million. If let's just say Bill's making $25 million still, if that's a 3-year, $75 million deal, and they go 3-14, you want to eat the $50 million?
What did Notre Dame pay Charlie Weiss off with? It was something crazy.
$40
like
million, maybe.
You know who made the most is the dude from Kansas, that fat dude.
Oh,
that looks
yeah,
like a
the-
baby with a mustache.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mangino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got paid like $1 trillion. They've signed him to like a 10-year deal and fired him. You know who's not getting paid is Tucker from Michigan State.
Well, he wow.
I can't stop.
Was it a $91 million contract he signed?
He might be.
You just couldn't.
He's 51 too, Mike.
Yeah,
Like,
he just-
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking about what's his name?
Mel
Mel
Tucker.
Tucker.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Why 6 years, $12 million?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I thought it was more than that
I
for
think
some reason.
I think the dude from Kansas got more. I just
Or what
remember
about the
him
old
getting a lot.
Carolina Panthers coach that they brought in, the one that they were fighting over? What was his
Matt
name?
Rule?
Matt Rule. Didn't Matt Rule get some ridiculous
Rule got it,
contract
yeah.
when he was there?
He did.
I think it was like
40
$9 million a year or something.
48
Well, you had to
million,
pry him
something
from
like that.
Ohio State or Iowa State. You had to pry him.
So
away.
I mean, you're right.
7 years, $62 million.
That's crazy, man. But and they fired him after 2. I think after 2 years.
2 and change, yeah, 2 years.
Man, So-
I
but
think
I mean,
4 years, $100 million for Belichick. So just put it in that perspective. So it's 3 years, $75 million. So you just said how ridiculous the Rule contract was. Imagine so to say, well, it doesn't matter to the Crafts. I mean, if I told you, if I put it in context of you just gave me 7 years, $76 million. Wow, that's crazy. Well, 2 years, $50 million that they'd have to eat. The idea that wouldn't incentivize them. Well, what's Kraft care? Well, he doesn't want to pay someone $50 million not to coach the team. And why would? And it makes him look like a jackass because he came off the year that they didn't make the playoffs, where he made the coaching decisions that were asinine, and you gave him an extension after that. And then you're going to go ahead and fire him and pay the guy $50 million when you should have known. It makes you look like an idiot. I mean, not that it would make Kraft look like an idiot. Like you just gave him $50 million for no reason.
Well, there's been the public deliveries from Kraft, right, over the last 3 years now. about,
yeah.
we expect this, and we need to win playoff games, and losing seasons are unacceptable. But it's always been kind of a show because maybe they've, look, I think Matt Groh has more power than we think he does.
Yeah, there's one another thing that came out of
Probably
this,
a good thing.
However,
And he got Christian
like,
Gonzalez.
he's saying all these things in public, and Bill's still got juice in the building, right? He's still got this power. So when they talk tough, behind closed doors, they're still kind of acquiescing to what
Which is
Bill
why,
wants.
when I think about it,
Yeah.
if I was Bill Belichick, I'd absolutely leak that. I'd do the same thing. I would absolutely do the same thing. Like you want to come out and tell people that my job's in jeopardy? Well, guess what? I'm going to go, why the hell did you extend me last year?
Well, see, that's the thing to me that is troubling is too strong of a word, but I guess the thing that bothers me about it is this is this organization has been going in the wrong direction or treading water since the second half of Tom Brady's last year. Everybody remembers they started off 8-0 in Brady's final season. They went 4-5. You had the whole Antonio Brown mess up. Brady walks out the door. You chose the coach over the quarterback, which at the time I was like, all right, I understand.
There's a shelf life to the quarterback. Yeah.
7-9 in a COVID year, which they clearly punted. Like that year, and in fact, if anything, I blame them that year for not just saying, screw bringing in Cam Newton, just play Stidham, and if we go 4-13 and we bottom out, we bottom out. Like we've pushed all our they say they pushed all their chips to the table for 20 years. Some would argue they didn't spend nearly enough to surround Brady with talent. But then you get that. You get a 7-game stretch in Mac Jones' rookie year where you go on this run. And I can't take it away from him. You can't take it away from them, period. But if you go back and look at who they beat, a little bit of fool's gold. Last year, you're 8-9 with the two hammerheads in charge, as the afternoon show likes to call them. Mac completely disintegrates in front of our eyes. You got a quarterback controversy. Coach doesn't want to talk to the quarterback. Like they're not getting along. And then you start this year off 1-5. Like, but what after what I just mentioned? 7-9, 10-7, getting crushed in the playoffs by 30 points by the Bills, and then 8-9 last year would make you think, oh, let's give him an extension.
Yeah.
Let's give him more years. Like that to me doesn't make any sense.
Well,
And
Kraft, Fred brought this up earlier. Kraft is clearly in love with that Don Shula record.
Oh,
that would be the only reason why you would give him that
And yet
extension.
another thing that he talked tough about at the owners' meetings, that in reality, no, he wants him to get it here. It matters to him. Like he said, we're about the results for our team. Well, you kind of want Bill to be here. You don't want to be the guy that forces Bill out the door. And I get it. I mean, I get it.
I sort of don't. I don't know why Kraft would concern himself at all with that record, because I don't think it really matters at all. I think that I mean, Don Shula, when you look back, when you look back at Don Shula, don't you just think he wasted all those years with Marino?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what you think.
Like, I don't like, you're like, wow, you coached forever. Like, you coached for too long.
Yep.
Same
and when
thing.
you think about Chuck Noll, what do you think about? You think 4 Super Bowls.
Yep.
And right? So, like,
Tom Landry went out like 1-15.
Yes.
well, Tom Landry was like a disaster. I mean, Tom Landry looked like Joe Paterno at the end of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he wearing that dumb hat all
Shula, I think, finished like right around 500 at the end of his
But I
career.
just remember those teams
like a
like
5-year stretch of just
that you had this all-world quarterback and you never had a defense.
They never gave him a running game. They never gave him a defense. They never gave him anything.
So when we get back,
Super duper.
it is strange you get a game like this out of nowhere. Out of this team for the last several weeks, it's been the toughest team to watch. I mean, what an awful Sunday. 4 hours stuck in front of this product, and then out of nowhere, they do what we've all been waiting for. They beat a good team with a legitimate quarterback, and Mac Jones does what everyone's been wanting him to do: close out a game at the end.
I want to know how impressed you were by Mac Jones, because apparently Bedard is like just like humping the table about it.
I want to know that, and I want to know whether or not
Seems like he got pretty lucky with.
I don't know about that visual there.
That's how Fugger and Naz were describing it.
I also want to know whether you think this means this is a step in the right direction, or whether it was a one-off in your mind.
Yeah, it seems like Stevenson was pretty responsible for a lot of what happened.
Well, the offensive line.
But he threw a 40-yard screen pass that got him in field goal range. I think that was
right out of the chute. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great for Mac Jones, but I don't, it wasn't like this Elway-esque performance. But all right, we'll be back in just a moment.